across the desert in my bare feet, with no food or water, with nowhere to sleep. Been ridiculed and abused, wrongfully accused. What more can they do to me? What more can they do to me? I've been locked up with no reason why. Had to look straight into my enemy's eyes. Been stripped from my head to my toe. Nobody seems to know. What more can they do to me? What more can they do to me? The heart you beat with, and they tore it down. They threw your dignity on the ground. Left you afraid and alone. The truth is still unknown. What more can they do to you? What more can they do to you? You chose not to react. You chose to stay strong, baby, stay strong, baby, stay strong, baby. And when they take everything away, still forgiveness you pray, you pray, you pray. And what more can they take away? Across the desert in my bare feet, with no food or water, with nowhere to sleep.
If you let him ride, you wanna drive, don't let him ride. Don't let him hold your hand. Oh, don't let him hold your hand. If he holds your hand, he wants you to join his band. Don't let him ride. Don't let him flag you down. Oh, don't let him flag you down. He flags you down, you turn your soul around. Don't let him ride. Oh, don't let him If he's your guy, you take your pride. Don't let him ride. Don't let him ride.
I wasn't there, hey, when they drove the slaves from the ship, and I wasn't there, no, hey, when they whipped my great-great-grandfather with the whip, but oh, I can feel the pain. Lord have mercy, I can feel the pain. Yeah, yeah, I can feel it. The pain, yes I can, and I wasn't there, no, hey, when they raped my great-great-great-grandmother, and I wasn't there, oh no, Lord, when she cried out for help, but oh, I can feel the pain, early in the morning I can feel the pain, yeah, yeah. The pain, yes I can still hear the slaves moaning as they slowly walk down the gangplank from the ship, and all I could do, Lord, all I could do was stand there and cry. Hey, Lord, 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 oh Lord, good God Almighty. Oh, I can feel the pain. Yes, I can. I said I can feel the pain. Lord, Lord, oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel the pain. Yes, I can. They locked up one of our black sisters not long ago. Angela Davis was her name. Oh, yeah. I said they handcuffed her and they took off to jail. Oh, yes, they did. But I want to say, I wasn't there, but I can feel the pain. Yeah, yeah, Lord, Lord, I can feel the pain. My, oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel the pain. Oh, yeah. I wasn't there when they shot Malcolm X. I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel the pain. Oh, Lord. Never been a slave, but I can feel it. I can feel the pain. Yeah, Lord, I said I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel the pain. When they shot Martin Luther King, Lord, I said I can feel it. Lord, I can feel it. I can feel the pain. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say I can feel it.
Greetings. Today is January the 27th, 2016. As you know, in January 2013, a Lyles County High School student, Kendrick Johnson, was found dead in the old gymnasium. The mother and father have been on a crusade seeking justice for their deceased son. And today, we can see from this sign across the street that they are still on the case. You may ask a question. Why do they keep doing this? Why don't they just give up and move on, you may ask? Well, that's a good question. Let's look back down the annals of history. In May of 1918, 12 to 15 blacks was murdered in Brooks and Lowndes County, Georgia, and the black community just moved on. From 1994 to 2009, jail inmates has been reported in the Valdosta and Niles County Jail as being not dead for whatever reason. And the people of Valdosta, Niles County, the state of Georgia, and the United States of America, they just moved on. And from 2009 to 2016, the people in Valdosta, Niles County, the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America don't have a record at all. They do not have a record at all in terms of how many people have died here in Valdosta and Niles County, Georgia. And it seems as if though the Georgia General Assembly and our elected officials does not even have a law wherein jails and prisons report how many of our sons and daughters die while in the hands of law enforcement, many of whom are retired, disabled, and active duty military personnel. And so, unlike Jacqueline and Kenneth, about their son that were found dead from falling into a mat at Niles County, unlike them, we just move on. We just forget about it. As if though human life is not important here in America. Wait a minute. I haven't finished yet. When we listen to the excuses given by Miss Presley at the HUD office in Atlanta about answering the impediments about the CDBG grants and how those federal dollars are spent here in Valdosta, which were designed for low-income communities, we don't get an answer. And so the pastors, the bishops, and religious leaders and followers here in Valdosta, they just move on. It doesn't matter to them. To people who are employed at these various school systems, and they call the NAACP, and has been doing that for decades, about unfair terminations. And when they file EEOC complaints, nothing happens. Many of them sit back and say to themselves, what's going on here? Some of them have come to me. I've helped them draft letters to fight the system, but eventually they give up because they say the judicial system here in Valdosta is for the ran by the good old boys. And so we just move on. But aren't you proud that the parents of Kendrick Johnson didn't just move on? Because in the final analysis, that could happen to your son. So thank God that they didn't just move on. You know, by the way, they were denied the very right to ID the body of their sons after he was found dead. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. I was stationed here from 1975 to 1979. And then I left, went to other assignments, and came back to Valdosta Federal Installation, just a few miles away from here, Moody Air Force Base. And I served the second tour here. And I retired here in January of '91. And I had never been placed under a criminal trespass until after the death of Kendrick Johnson. As you know, I walked with the investigators all down Weisenbaker Lane. I walked with the investigators all on Oak Street back over in that area. But the sheriff department chose to put me, after the death of Kendrick Johnson, under a criminal trespass for not violating the law. Let me repeat. They put me under a criminal trespass for not violating the law. I served this country for 21 years. And they did this to me. And if they did this to me, following the death of Kendrick Johnson, then they can do this to you. And no government agency in Valdosta, Lowndes County, Atlanta, the state of Georgia, or at the federal level, including Eric Holder, would even come to address a retired military veteran that had been made a scapegoat, apparently for reasons yet to be determined. And so today, I have been under this criminal trespass for 2 years and 8 months without violating any law. Now, what am I saying short form? What am I saying in truth? I'm saying to you, the people in Valdosta, Lowndes County, the state of Georgia, and across the United States of America, and others who may come here to visit this place, that you can be traveling on a public highway and a Lowndes County Sheriff deputy can pull you over and say you are under a criminal trespass and you haven't violated any law. Wait a minute. If you are going to school at Georgia Military College, Valdosta State University, or playing golf at Kenaloo Golf Course, or going out to Francis Lake Resort, or go down to Mission Lake, or go down to Grassy Pond, or if you go down out to Wild Adventures Theme Park, or if you go to Wiregrass Technical College, they can put you under a criminal trespass for 2 years and 8 months like me, and they don't have to tell you a damn thing. And yet the leaders, let me repeat, the leaders here in the United States of America don't care enough about their image around that's being seen around the world. Now look, I served during the Vietnam era, yet only to return back home to Georgia and be put under a criminal trespass without justification or notification. Look, I have gone to the Sheriff Department, probate, Superior Court, including District Attorney David Miller's office, federal courts, gone to the Department of Justice in Atlanta, to the federal level. And do you not know that it seemed as if though the old 1860 Dred Scott decision which said no black man had any rights that a white man had to respect? This is what they are proving today. And so, I guess, do you want me to move on too? I cannot move on. The reason I cannot move on, because I love white people too much. And I know what can happen to you white people. The same thing that happened to this black man will soon be happening to your children and coming generations unless something is done about it. First, it's the black man, but soon it will be upon every man in the land. Let me say this to you. Let me repeat. Let me say this to you. Even more sickening than my criminal trespass is the fact that the Valdosta Daily Times, under Kay Harris at the time, would not even interview me to let the general public know that the Lowndes County Sheriff Department, following the death of Kendrick Johnson, put me under this criminal trespass for nothing, apparently, except maybe to not report the news or report maybe what the children would say. Or maybe even more embarrassing than that is CBS News would not report this story. ABC would not report this story. NBC would not report this story. CNN would not report about my criminal trespass. 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline, Al Jazeera, nobody seemed interested in citizenship rights here in the state of Georgia, and it is indeed being seen in Canada and around the world. And so we as Americans must ask ourselves a very important question. Why do we send our sons and our daughters in foreign nations of the world to fight for freedom, justice, and equality for foreigners while our rights are eroding right before our eyes, and we are leaving for our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and coming generations a nation a nation that seemed to be about one thing, but it's about another. And so if the news media, and they did not report about my criminal trespass, nor did they report about the 14-year-old girl that was hogtied at Lowndes County Middle School in Pine Grove Middle School, they wouldn't even report that at all to the parents who had children attending that Lowndes County school system. And yet we go fight these wars as I did, and then they will tell you that they love our military veterans and our active duty and our disabled and our retired military veterans. You can say that from your lips, but from your hips, you are saying and sending a different message. And because the social media now, they are reporting what our control dictated to news media will not report, the people are becoming more educated, and they are making decisions now that will definitely impact whether the American people will really support a war in the name of this country, freedom, justice, and equality, when it is being proven each and every day that we are losing our rights and nobody are willing to stand up. They will tell you, just move on. They want you to move on. During the days of slavery, they wanted us to just move on. Why, they even gave us a white Jesus. And in our churches, even until this day, we hung the picture or displayed the picture of a white Jesus, knowing all the time that Jesus had to be of a darker hue. This white people already knew. We were the ones who didn't know our own history. But today, through some magnificent, holy, divine instruction from God, wherein he said in St. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. And this is what we are witnessing today. Don't look down on Kenneth and Jacqueline for standing up for their loved one that was found dead in the Lowndes County gymnasium. Don't look down on them. Look down on the many other mothers and fathers who had children and loved ones to die for whatever reason in the Valdosta and Lowndes County jail. But they sat and they did nothing. Many of them came to me. Many of them went to the NAACP, the SCLC, and other organizations. But they didn't do what Kenneth and Jacqueline are doing. And we know they're being criticized. Every leader that ever came to this country who stood up for what was right was criticized, called a lot of ugly and dirty names. Just like I was called a nigger on February the 6th, 2015 of last year. And I wear that badge as a badge of honor. Yes, let me repeat. I wear that as a badge of honor because if you research the meaning, the real meaning of a nigger, according to the ancient Egyptians, see what nigger really meant. And somewhere, when they started calling us a nigger, they knew the real meaning of that word in the beginning before they associated with something ugly. But just remember, regardless of what they say or do, just remember that God said heaven and earth would pass away, but the truth will live forever. And that's what we are seeing today. We are seeing everything that the wicked people have done, black and white, German, Japanese, whatever. You are seeing it all coming out now. The world and some of their own children of all haters and wicked people is coming out now. And some of their own grandchildren are condemning them because they were on the wrong side of history. Kenneth, Jacqueline and the Tudor family and others, I want to say to you, keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is much bigger than you. And I want to thank you. You might not have been on the stage for Martin Luther King's service, but you deserve to be there, because you are indeed living the dream of those freedom fighters of yesterday. And without people like you all, our children will regress back to the days of Jim Crow. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press, January 27, 2016, the voice of the people. Now run and tell that.
People get ready. There's a new day a-coming. Everybody gonna be free. A better day for you and me. Everybody gonna be free. Everybody gonna be free, yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. There'll be no more fighting in Vietnam. Everybody gonna be free all over this land. Everybody gonna be free. Gonna be free. 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 Lord have mercy. Everybody gonna be free. Yeah. Everybody gonna be free.
You went your hard way for what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today.
This guy right here is forcibly trying to lock somebody up for breaking up a fight.
Everybody standing in it today. I did nothing. I did not sell nothing. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me, so I'm so sick. I'm minding my business, officer.
Yeah. This is an open letter to you.
I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you the last time. Please leave me alone.
And bring all our boys home. That's right.
Hold on.
Don't touch me, please.
But Mr. President,
Don't touch me.
oh, can't you see all the protesters in the streets? Look at all the hungry people. The fatherless children with no shoes on their feet. Can't you hear them all sing?
Where your hand, bro?
I can't. They're saying, I want to be free.
Let's get free. Let's get free. Let's get free. Let's get free.
Once again, police beating up on people.
Back up.
Right here.
Back up and get on that step.
Okay.
Back up.
They wanna be free. From South Africa, they wanna be free. New York ain't no better. They wanna be free. I said they wanna be free. All that belong out.
This is KBCI.blogspot.com. YouTube, Boston, G.B.R. You know, there's a lot of strange things happening here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, and in the state of Georgia, in fact. Today, I'm standing in front of the courthouse in Lowndes County. You know, I've been saying for 15 to 20 years that there's something very strange in Valdosta. News is not reported to the general public. You've heard me talk about the 31 jail deaths from 1994 to 2009, and from 2009 to 2013, no one seemed to know. It all seemed to be top secret. Your news media, your television, and your radio won't talk about it. And even more interesting, I have addressed this issue to Sheriff Prime, that on May the 8th, 2010, an inmate was tasered in medical and died. And nothing was published in the local paper. You've heard me talk about that, and I talked about the Georgia Attorney General. Now, for the first time, I'm going to call the names because of what happened to this beautiful sister right here who's going to talk in a minute. It is time now that the truth be told. This individual, a former inmate from the Valdosta and Lowndes County Jail wrote this on July the 2nd, 2010. This is the cover letter to his legal document that had been stamped by the court. By the way, it was stamped in the courts with their stamp. Dear, y'all remember I told y'all about this. I don't have to lie. I believe in the truth that I'm talking about. Dear Sarah L. Crow, will you please file both legal letters to Senior Judge Kelly D. Turner and State Court Solicitor. Look, this is it. This individual talked about the inhumane conditions in the jail, among other things. But in the last paragraph, he certified and restated to Judge Kelly D. Turner and the clerk of the court that that death took place. But who cares about that? Who cares about ignored news here in Valdosta and Lowndes County? Now, I'm going to back out the picture. Why am I going to do that? I just want to show you one among many of the newsworthy information that the Valdosta Daily Times, I'm not criticizing them, ABC, NBC, CBS, and other news media outlets just don't want you to know about. Now look, come here, my beautiful sister. What got me the other day was when this sister, beautiful sister of a beautiful daughter, something as serious as being put in handcuffs based on a lie. Now y'all excuse me for being blunt, but because of what happened down in Sanford, Florida with George Zimmerman, we got to now bring this thing to the forefront. The next video that you see will be where we travel to Jasper, Florida, and this is the march that people are outraged. Black people now are using the court system that found George Zimmerman not guilty. They are using that now to get people registered to vote, to get them reactivated into the 1940s and 50s in civil rights movement like never before. The young people now see that we have major problems. And when the news media have ignored this young lady right here and her husband and their daughter here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia, and in the state of Georgia. Now look, she have produced packages. I wish you had one with you.
Yes,
she got the big packages, thick. She have produced them. Go and get it. And she have given them to every news agency that will take one. And if you want one, she will email them to you. But what we don't understand is how is it that the Georgia Attorney General, the Governor Nathan Deal, the Georgia Bar Association, because she's talking about the Public Defender's Office. There is major problems here in the Public Defender's Office in Lowndes County. We've been knowing about it for years. I've been talking about it for years. But now we got to call it out. Now, let me pass this over to this sister here. And when she tells you that she been to the news media, you didn't go to the news media in China, did you?
No.
You didn't go to the news media in North Korea, did you?
No.
You didn't go to the news media in Russia, did you?
No.
Okay, so if we can't get this reported in America, maybe we need to go to Russia or China or Iraq or Iran, and just maybe they will care enough about the legal system to do what we used to do, but seem like those days are long gone. Go ahead, my beautiful sister. Tell them about tell them that this is the size of the package. Talk to the people.
Those are my DVDs of what occurred. I have a package that I presented to them, to the news media. Everyone that asked that they needed information, I handed to them, and it was still not reported to this day. I also, when I went to the march, WCTV, Channel 6 was out there. I even stated to the people that all these news media that I had reported my information to did not want to report it. I don't understand why, because it's news, and if I got documentation stating the truth, why not report it? I'm not asking anybody to be biased. I just want you to report the facts. The facts are in that package. The facts are in the package, and it's detailed fact by fact what transpired. We have videos, we have a picture, and none of those information have been reported to the people who need to know what's going on in Valdosta, Georgia. I think it's news. I don't understand why it's not reported. And I had one of the news meter, I won't give his name, told us the reason why some people are afraid to report it because they have a good rapport with the sheriff's office. I don't think that's justifiable for you not to report the news. I thought when you were news media, when you get news and you got facts behind the news, you report it. I did not know in this day and time that they can withhold information from the public, and that's what I'm seeing.
One other thing, now you say you had statements. First they say that your daughter hit somebody, am I correct?
Yes.
And you didn't give them a copy of the statements, did you?
Yes, I gave them a copy
of the statement to show that your daughter, in fact, did not hit an educator, which is what? A felony for hitting an educator.
Felony.
And so now one other thing, I want you to tell me how many days have passed since this incident had happened here in this metro city of Valdosta, Georgia, home of Titletown, USA, Valdosta State University, Moody Air Force Base, Kendaloo Golf Course, Georgia Military College, Wiregrass Technical College, all these high levels of learning. And yet, how many days?
It's going on 2 months.
Over 60 days of the news.
As a matter of fact, in a few more days, it will be 3 months. And
wow.
No one has not reported it, none of the news. And I'm really questioning myself when I made this move here approximately 5 years ago, thinking that I was coming to a better place for my children. And to see this happen, that it didn't happen in a big old metro city like Miami and Miami Gardens, it's amazing to me. My kids lived in that city and never had problems. We come here and my daughter get falsely accused. I don't understand that. Where is the logic in that? As a person moving from a different state, I would be questioning whether is this someplace I want to move to.
One other thing, what do you think, like we marched in Jasper yesterday, with all those young people, what do you think those young people are going to say when they hear their parents and their grandparents and great-grandparents talked about this back in their day, and now it's moved up to 2013, and our young children got to experience and go through the same thing that they went through back in the 19 and 1800s. That's a hell of a way to have to live, wouldn't you think?
Yes, it is, because growing up, that was not really an issue as far as we having a march, because we did have some rights. But to say that we didn't experience profiling, because where I grew up, majority we lived in a nice area, so I've never lived in nothing less. And we were profiled for a minute, but like my dad, like I always state, know your rights. So my daddy was a big advocate of knowing his rights, and they could not get away with it. After that, we didn't have any problems. As a matter of fact, the police down there respected us because we knew our rights. They knew they couldn't do anything about it. And that's the thing here. I'm appalled because here it is, 2013, and our children are experiencing, they are being racially profiled, and that's what it is, racially profiled. They are being mishandled and mistreated by the judicial system. All the judicial system is another form of where they loose your neck, of hanging you on a thing, giving you this time so that they don't have to deal with you. They don't have to deal with you. And it's sad because I personally don't want to see our children in the judicial system. You're giving time to children who some of the time they're giving is not even worth what the crime is.
And so we feel the probation role because they make us, lead us to plea bargain. If the public defenders are not as good and as accurate and as thorough and committed to justice as they should be, according to the people that I've seen out in the jail over 25 to 30 years, they say that sometimes they don't even see the lawyer until the day of the trial. And so they can't prepare for it, but they have prepared, I'm sure, for the plea bargain.
Yes.
And the plea bargain put them on probation, and somebody is reaping millions of dollars from people like myself under criminal trespass warning. As we close this out, and I want to say this again, the next video will be where we went, because we were called late that afternoon to Jasper, Florida. And I want you to listen to the voices, listen to the cries, listen to the needs of the people, and watch the young children who must watch what is happening, not in China, not in Russia, not in Iraq, nor Iran, not in North Korea, but here in the United States of America. Once again, hold that package up. And you took your money to make this package for the news media, and seemed like it just was a waste of time.
Yes.
Valdosta Daily Times and other local news media, it seems as if though you are continuing to not inform the people. Well, if you continue not to inform them, I'm going to continue informing them, because I understand the Jesus that many people dip in. You duplicate, you imitate, and you placate Jesus on Sunday and Saturday for the Jews and the Seventh-day Adventists and others. But when it comes down to standing up for the principles of those great men and women who followed that great line of Holy Divine, you're left in the cosmos. Now, close us out by letting us know the pain that you feel for your daughter who must go through this. And you got to go to tomorrow and then the 25th.
Yes.
And it should not even be in court. It shouldn't even be no records on it. It should be dropped immediately. If the people who the deputy said these things happened to, if they said it didn't happen, then why does she have to pay money from her family to defend a lie or an untruth? And I read the documents, but I don't normally put myself out like that. But I read the statements from the teachers. Close us out. How you feel?
I'm hurt and I'm angry because, like I said before, I used to be a part of the judicial system. I was in law enforcement and I stood by the facts. And with you having all this information of the facts and you still refuse to follow through, we here dealing with a public defender who does not want to do his job. He's more busy getting us the plea bargain, Matt Monroe, than investigating, speaking to the witness, or subpoenaing people. Or my first thing that I told him to do, me and my husband, get these charges dismissed based on the facts. That is not in her file, expunge her file in the records, that it never happened based on the facts. He has not done that as of yet. Now here we are, 3 days before her hearing, he wants to meet and talk. What is there to talk about? How are you going to plead her case after all this time? You had plenty of time to do that, to investigate, to do all those things, to do a motion of discovery. You did none of those things, and yet you want to talk on Monday? What is there to talk about? Are you going to plead my daughter's case based on talking to her?
So you know what, excuse me, you know what I think? I think, and I don't understand the system that much. I've never had that much dealing with law enforcement, except I got this criminal trespass warning. But maybe you just ought to ask the judge, or to go and ask the district attorney or Georgia Attorney General, ask them to at least give you more time, because you haven't had the lawyer that they appointed you. He didn't do what you think he should have done. And they should give you more time for that. But once again, we in Lowndes County and Valdosta, Georgia. And it seems like, I've said it so many times before, it seems like they create their laws as they go. We went up before Judge Terry or something, and we found out something that we didn't know. And so this thing, no one, round and around she goes, and where she stopped, nobody knows. But God knows just how deep the mole hole goes.
Yes, it is. And so now, come on July the 25th, 2013, we just received our papers from the sheriff's office telling us we have to be in court on the 25th. Like I say, a few days before it happened, we get what is it? I believe it's the subpoenas or whatever, that's witness subpoenas that we have to be in court concerning this incident with my daughter, July the 25th. Here it is Sunday. That's for this Thursday. We just receiving those papers. And honestly, it's appalling to me that I'm still going through this battle, and the sad part about it, I can't get people to help me. All these people that say they're gonna help me, I'm finding out really are not trying to help me. They're trying to make a name for themselves, and I don't understand at the point of my daughter's freedom, you want to make a name for yourself? You want people to hear your name? I don't have time for that. If you're not here to fight for me, please stay out of my face.
Amen.
Because right now it's about my daughter. It's not about nothing else. It ain't about for you being on publicity, people hearing your name and your organization. I don't have time for that. I need people that's gonna stand by me and that's gonna fight for justice and fight for the freedom of my daughter. That's my main concern. I'm hurt, I'm angry, and I'm tired of the lies and the deceitful people smiling your face and yet ain't got your best interests at heart. That's what I'm tired of.
Amen. Thank you so much, my beautiful sister. Thank you. And I just want to say, as they depart, I want to say this. You can look at this and be touched by it, but I have seen person after person after person, just like this young lady, they cried out and asked the question, why can't we get at least a news media to tell our story so at least the people in the community will know, so when their child is faced with the same thing, at least they have somebody to contact or to feel some grief or even to pray about it. But if they don't know about it, the pastors can't pray about it, the imams can't relay it to the synagogue, the Jews can't send it to the synagogue, the Muslims can't send it to the mosque, and everyday folk just don't know nothing about it. And I'm going to continue to say it, because there ain't nothing else for me to do. I don't understand how we have all these churches, and we can't get the truth out in a metro city in the state of Georgia. I just don't understand.
What's up, fam? It's your girl Ike here. I've been meaning to do this video for a long time. So this is not going to be a whole long video on what your rights are when you are encountering the police, but I need to let you all know exactly what you're supposed to say when you get stopped by the cops. Remember, the object is to survive the encounter. That's the object. That's where we are. You have to accept that the police are afraid of your black skin. Simple. Okay, so what do you say? The only thing you need to say to the police is, am I free to leave? Let me say that one more time. Am I free to leave? That's it. There's only two ways a cop can answer that. The first way is, no, you're not free to leave. And you know what happens when you're not free to leave? You have the right to shut the fuck up. Okay? That means you invoke your right to remain silent. Oh, if I'm not free to leave, then I have the right to remain silent. That means you don't answer questions. And you don't have to do it belligerent and be belligerent about it. You don't have to be rude or disrespectful. All you do is assert your rights. That's it. And you can do that in a peaceable manner. Second, if the police say you are free to leave, then leave. Fuck you standing around for. What are you trying to document? Nothing. Leave. Okay? 2 answers. Am I free to leave? Yes. If you are, go. Am I free to leave? No. If you're not, shut the fuck up.